Welcome to a new video from K Trading. Today we're talking about a 1-minute scalping strategy that really packs a punch. I'm not kidding when I say it's almost like cheating. You'll see it in the chat in a moment. I don't want to promise too much, but I'll show you which coins I use and how I search for them. But the way it performs in the 1-minute chats is just abnormal. I already hinted at it very briefly in the last video. LuxAlgo has made a new AI integration in its indicator at signals and overlays, and it really has it all. Of course, this is aimed more at the people in my community who already have LuxAlgo and trade with it. I'd like to show you a little bit because in Discord they keep releasing very good strategies in the premium Discord. But for anyone who doesn't have it yet and says, hey, that looks really interesting, then take a look at the link in the video description with the up to 30% discount depending on the plan. But let's go into the chart now. I'm now on the Bitcoin chart, and why am I showing you the Bitcoin chart? I'm actually only showing it to you so that you know, hey, I wouldn't trade Bitcoin in this case. A lot of people actually want to apply all these strategies to Bitcoin. Unfortunately, Bitcoin only makes such unpredictable moves. Number one and number two is a price movement in Bitcoin, especially in 1-minute charts like this. Small that it actually brings little profit. And exactly how do we proceed? First rule number one, you can already see such a cloud. We'll actually get to that in a moment. We use hyxzqqkfaf candles. The reason why we use hyxzqqkfaf candles, which I'll show you in a moment, is simply so that we get signals from our LuxAlgo indicator much earlier. The small example now, I can switch it on again very briefly, are now Bitcoin 1 minute. That would of course have been a good trade. Looks good here. Short signal and also shows us all at the latest at the purple candle exit in the case. But if we just look now as a small example, here was our entry on the Bitcoin in hyxzqqkfaf, and if we go in on the normal candle, you'll see, and that's the only reason why we're doing this, we would enter much later. This is really 4, 5, 7, 8 candles here circa later, and you have that. Sometimes it's only 3, 4, but often it's really a few candles like you would get in later because the signal comes later. I know hyxzqqkfaf has different prices, but fortunately, they are not quite as strong in the 1-minute chart as you know from other time frames. But how do we get better coins now? I've already picked out Render before because I'm watching Render more, and it also has good volatility at the moment. How do I search for them on CoinMarketCap? If you look at the last 24 hours in the 1-minute chart, for example, it works very well, and you can see what coins have been really volatile in the last few days. I'm currently actively trading Rune. There's also a position open in Trading Bot that's performing well at the moment at 28% or so, but today we're looking at Render. We can also go through a bit more, for example, Pepe, Ton, and the like. You'll see everything that is volatile coins. It's almost like cheating with these indicator settings. But let's get straight to what indicators do we need. Now let's get the RNDR in here and take a look at this in detail. This is what the RNDR looks like in a 1-minute chart. Now we come to the indicators. The first indicator is the EMA Cloud, just so I have that, from your Watrian with 3 or 4 I's and 2 A's. That's the first one we'll add. And for those of you who already use LuxAlgo yourself, as you know, you have the option of adding LuxAlgo signals and overlays to invite-only scripts. Then we have 2 indicators, and that's all we need. We simply set the EMA trend to 50. We need it much smaller, to 100 and 200. In other words, it actually shows us the trend very well for the 1-minute chart, except that you can see these clouds here. The second is the LuxAlgo indicator, which of course also looks catastrophic. Let's just try something else. Let's go in there and say we don't need anything up here. Confirmation mode in signal mode is confirmation and exit. We put the AI classifier in, which is this new tool that LuxAlgo has made available. We don't care about signal sensitivity, we only need candle calorie, which we do with confirmation and simple. We turn off the smart trade, you can leave the dashboard, and then we have the autopilot sensitivity, which is very good. I traded on midterm because that suits it best. It then simply gives us the signal sensitivity and automatically displays the chart according to the current volatility. If we have a more sideways trend, it would get smaller, and if we have a higher trend, i.e. with a lot of volatility, I think it would get bigger. So Now it looks like this, and we see here, actually it looks massively good. Short one, short one, and this long has now also given us another exit signal. We would have had a small false signal here, but again, if we look at it, the percentages up to the short signal would actually be 0.38, which is basically nothing. But we now have a lot of signals that don't interest us at all. You see here two long signals. The 3 might have been okay, but what do these numbers mean? Of course, we now have these different numbers here. I'll zoom in here again so you can see that. 1, 3, 3, 4, and we don't want to trade all of these signals. And for this reason, you can now filter them very nicely to get fewer incorrect signals. How do we proceed here? We go in with LuxAlgo and with AI classifier. I trade like this. You can look at it differently with coin to coin. You can possibly leave out the 2 here and there. I only trade 3 and 4 because the signals are simply much better and more confirmed. Then you just delete that, and then it looks like some signals. Everything that isn't 3 or 4 disappears. Of course, that looks completely different now. Let's just take a look at what we're doing here, because rule number 1 is that as long as the cloud is green, we only want to trade long, and when the cloud turns red, we only want to trade short. Just take a look at this price range now. That's what I mean by cheating. Maybe once again here, if we now add the 2s, for example, so add 1 and 2, just so you can see what happens, we have a lot of signals that come in, which we don't want, and that's what I mean, 3 and 4, and we have massively good signals. Let's get straight to the rules about the entries. For example, we have a 4 here, which would have given us an exit. We have a 3 exit here, 4 exit. We would not trade this one, this red 4, because we are in the green cloud. Then we have a 3 here, which would not have performed quite as well, because not much has happened here, because we had a change here with the purple candle, and that is our latest exit. Here again, 3, signal come, take profit out, or at least part out. Here a signal very early. Here it says take partial profit. At the latest, when you have a purple candle, get out again. This here, you can see here, these 4 dots, purple candles would not have performed so well now, but you can take it with you, because often they still turn green then. Again, if you had traded these now, the loss would have been minimal. We're talking about 3.9, let's say 4%. Of course, Heiken Ashi can be a little more, a little less, but it's always about this spin. For this next signal, let's look at this triple signal. Unbelievable. That is, first part profit at 6.7, second part profit at 2%. The latest exit for this purple candle would be at 3%, and that's where we are now. Our entries are actually at a signal, which means we get a triple or quadruple signal, and our very latest exit is when the candle turns purple again. And our latest exit is when the candle turns purple. Of course, it's up to everyone to decide how much risk they're willing to take, because we'll often have this thing that if we just close it up to the candle, we have a good example that I'll show you in a moment, or that can of course also be the latest exit when the candle turns red. But in any case, when it changes from green for longs or changes from red for shorts. Because the small example, we would have had an entry here, would have gone up to about 0.7, 0.8%, would have had a take profit here. Okay, it wouldn't have been so bad here, but we would have simply ended at 0.5%. Here is a better example. Here, a take profit would have been at 0.55%, but if you hadn't taken it because you were waiting for a candle change, it would only have been 0.05, i.e. minus the expenses. It would actually have been a minimal minus trade. That's what I want to show you now. In other words, my approach is such that you also know how I do it. As soon as I have a profit of 0.5%, I always set my take profit to break even. That's my stop loss at break even. I forgot that before. I always set my stop loss at 1% because the counter signal would come much earlier before we reach 1%, but it could be that we have a massive liquidation candle downwards, and we want to protect ourselves from this so that we don't get liquidated here because the 1 minute cut is traded with higher leverage. Of course, not a recommendation. I trade this myself with 10x, but you really have to look for yourself. In other words, entry is what matters. When an X comes, I get at least 50% out of the position. That's the least I do. And then I see how it goes on. Depending on where this X is, I look at it further and maybe take everything or let it go on. It pays off in any case because this X, Unfortunately, sometimes it comes earlier. So for example, well, here came an X, then came a close signal. But as a small example, if you had already closed everything here at the first X, that would of course have been a good trade. That's 1.87%. But if you take out 50% here and then let it continue, and you know you're going somewhere around 3 or 4%, you have a lot more. For example, at the latest at the consolidation, somewhere around 3.5%, I would then get out and just take it with me. We are in a minute chart. Please don't forget that. You have so many opportunities to get in and out per day. Here too, you can see that if you really stick to the fact that you only take the longs, how many profitable trades you take and how many non-profitable trades, how small these margins are always only around 0.3, 0.4%. And that's exactly what these rules are. What you can also do, and we now have an example of this, which I would definitely like to share with you, is, for example, we had a good long signal here, a short signal came here, and it seems that a 1 or 2 signal may have sneaked in somewhere because there was simply not enough here. So let's take a quick look. This means that there would probably be a signal somewhere. Here is a 2 signal that would appear here and we would miss this trade. But how do we go about things like this so that I say, hey, I only want the good signals? Now we have red and purple candles here, but we are still in this green cloud, which doesn't mean that we have to go short immediately or anything else if we miss a signal. And that is an opportunity that you can take. And you see, you wait for the signal, it doesn't come. But we have actually had a bearish momentum here, a short one. We just go up again and suddenly the candles turn green again. When the candles turn green, it means that we have an opportunity to enter. And that's what I would like to give you as a little tip. If we have green candles but no signal and the cloud is green, we can enter again. You can see this again here as a small example. We had a signal of 3 here. Unfortunately, it was stuffed twice here because these candles turned purple, actually 3 times. But then we were able to make up for it here because it turned green here and we were able to take it here again. That would just be this rule. And you are welcome to look at it, for example. I take everyone knows Pepe, unbelievable. With Bybit, it's 1,000 Pepe with Bitget. But with Bybit, I mean just that, you see, Pepe is normally not such a good trade. But if you look at how well Pepe is performing, short signal hit, then here, short signal hit, next short signal hit, here we had a long signal. Would have to get out in time or set a stop loss to break even in time. Insofar as that worked out here, easy, at 1%, 1, 4, 1, 5%. I would already take my profits, part profits, stop loss at break even. Look at this monster signal here. Actually, and maybe as a small example, here came a signal which came in here, R up, was stopped out with 0.06. And that's again what I mean. The next green candle is our re-entry. And you don't need to say where we would have gone if we had taken out some of the profit here. At 0.83, we were at 4% in between, which means at 10, that's 40% in a minute chart, just as a small example. So that wouldn't have been a valid signal anyway. I can see right now it was my mistake because the red one is stealing. That means greener steals here. That would have been our good signal because the candles are green. Here, we could have taken it again. That might not have been so ideal, but just so that you can see how good the performance is overall from this part, how many positive, good trades come in compared to those that are negative. I've told you again and again in the last few videos, TON, incredibly cool coin because it performs brutally with what's going on here. You can also look here, take a look at TON, because it makes such strong up and down movements. Here, short signal hit, we don't go long. Red cloud, short signal hit, short signal hit. Now, do you know what I mean by cheating? Of course, you could stay in, but it's a minute chart. There could be a reversal at any time. You never know. If you don't get out here, whether this is exactly what will happen after. So it's better to get in again, take profits out, get in again, take profits, get out, get in again, take profits, get out, because a reversal can come at any time and go in the other direction. Just so that you can see as a small example, it also works very well in the opposite direction with longs, that we have really good signals coming in here. I hope for everyone who has the LuxAlgo, check it out with these volatile coins. You won't believe it yourself when you're on the chart. For those who don't have it yet, really look. Link in the video description. You can't actually lose anything. And that what it costs, you can easily get in with this scalping method. Of course, you should have experience. There is never a guarantee, because especially if the 1 minute chart shows that it is consolidating, then you shouldn't trade anyway. Then nothing happens on the larger candle. Thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and so on. Bye-bye.